Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for April 15th, 2021 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. I'm Gary Bell, President of the Board this year. To my left is Commissioner Jeff Benton, and Commissioner Lewis is not with us today. Mike Frommer, our administrators here, as well as our clerk, Sarah DeNova and Jennifer Walraven. Proceed.
Resolution number 21-300, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held April 12, 2021.
So moved.
A second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-300. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-301, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants and batch numbers CMA PR 0414 and memo transfers and batch numbers MTA PR 0414.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-301. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-302, in the matter of a new liquor license request from Taco Team LLC and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-302. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-303, in the matter of setting date, time, and place for the final hearing for the joint board of the Delaware County and Licking County Boards of Commissioners for the Corsa Joint County number 588 Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-303. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-304, in the matter of approving the 2021-2022 program costs with the County Risk Sharing Authority.
So moved.
Second, discussion,
Good morning, Dawn Houston, Deputy Administrator, and I'm recommending your approval of our 2021-22 Corsa program. As you know, Gary, you're on the board. They continue to be a very strong company. They're currently insuring 66 of the 88 counties in Ohio, and I think there's a long list of other entities that they also provide coverage for. We were fortunate again to receive 100% of our loss control incentive program credit. We also are receiving member equity in the form of $41,621 back from Corsa, and there are dividends that the Corsa board voted on to return some money to all the member counties, which will be receiving a check sometime in the summer where that's concerned. So we did have a small decrease in our for our jail population detainee COVID credit, just because the population in the jail was a little bit less than what it normally would have been. So Corsa continues to provide excellent risk management services, which we all take advantage of, and I think really helps to drive down the costs and ensure that our renewals are favorable. They just finished our trying to think of the name of it, where they look at all the buildings and see what they're worth. Anyway, they just finished
Appraisal.
Thank you, the appraisal, where we should have that information here soon, and that will then they'll look at what the renewal should be for next year based upon our experience. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you.
I know it's been taken care of, but the buildings that the county is no longer been on, those have been removed
They have,
and be
yes.
reflective in the rates.
They are, yes.
So we had a slight decrease.
Increase, a
And
slight
slight
increase,
increase, okay.
yes, 0.48%.
Okay. How about the coverages? What kind of changes in coverages?
The coverages are essentially the same as what they have been in the past. So those have not changed. And as you know, we looked into potentially adding the uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage, but didn't feel that that was something that would be beneficial based upon the cost. We really have not had problems in that regard. So, yeah, the coverages essentially remain the same.
The, you mentioned that you got a $41,000 rebate?
It's a member equity credit.
How's that different from a dividend?
That's a good question. I
And
was
it's
wondering
basically
the same.
thing.
Okay.
We voted, I believe the number is $1.5 million to return to the 66 counties.
Okay.
And that, I believe that's the money we're talking about in that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was wondering about that because Corsa has done extremely well over the couple decades. It's been insuring the county's property and liability and has accumulated a fair amount of equity, as has Sebco. And I didn't realize that you had actually voted to do a dividend for Corsa. That's one of the proposals I've made at Sebco, is we ought to look at a dividend to the members, because Sebco has, you know, the risk-based capital is one measure of the adequacy of the equity, and Sebco's at 900 and some percent, and the guidelines are kind of 300 to 500, and we're at 900%. So I threw out the idea of a dividend. Hasn't gained much traction at this point, so it's good to know that Corsa has moved that
And we've done that
direction.
in prior years, and
Yes.
prior to me being on the board, but, and I think really it was about $2 million plus, because there was other things that were included in some of the services that they added and provided. And
Correct, yeah, there's
increased coverage in some areas as well.
cybersecurity is a big
Right.
focus, as well as law enforcement. So I have provided the information to our IT department, as well as Auditor Keitza, and I'll be getting with the sheriff in terms of the things, a lot of the things that they're adding for law enforcement, we are already doing, such as body cams and scanners and things like that, so.
But again, that's good to know that Corsa recognizes their equity is very at high levels, and to return some of it to the counties who paid the premiums that created that equity is good to see, and I'll be sure to mention that at our strategic planning retreat at Sebco.
And I will say this, there is concern about the upcoming years, because the insurance, appears to be on the rise in some increases we can't control, and some of the reinsurance programs, et cetera. So, but we'll know more about that next year. But I think we got a very good result this year.
We did, yes.
And I think Corsa's done a terrific job. I've been privileged to serve a little over a year now
Yeah.
on the board.
Sebco has about 75 million of equity, and probably should have arguably 30 to 40. So you could argue Sebco's got 30 million-ish extra equity, and that should be returned to the counties in some capacity, where it's in
Yes.
improved coverages, reduced rates, dividends, you know, et cetera. So anyway,
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
very,
thank you.
very good. We do need to take a vote, though, I
Yes.
assume.
Yes, we do.
Get ready to say vote.
Vote on motion 21-304. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. I believe that brings us to administrative reports.
I have nothing to report today.
Everything's going well, huh?
Everything's going smooth.
Good. Commissioner Benton?
Just a couple things. We had the Records Commission meeting yesterday. Interesting discussion. Probably the one key issue coming out of that is, as Big Lots, now that Big Lots has moved out of that space, what is the future plan? What are the future plans for that space? Because I know Board of Elections is interested in expanding into it. Records Commission is taking on more shared services for other jurisdictions, and therefore may need more space and so on. So they need to be kept in the loop and in the planning of that space. We had the Sunbury Chamber lunch yesterday. Kenny McDonald from One Columbus was the speaker, and Kenny always is very interesting. There's a lot of good things going on in Central Ohio. It's good to hear him and see what's going on with them. And they're very impressed and positive on Delaware County and the things we're doing. So it was a good conversation. Sunbury Chamber does a really nice job. They stayed active and so on. And the economic development update with the townships has been canceled for this Saturday. So I don't know if everybody, I don't know who all was planning on participating in that, but There was, the Delaware County Township Association puts this on periodically, and they had it scheduled for Saturday and have now canceled it. So anyway, that's all I got.
I don't have a lot to add to that. I missed the Chamber of Sunbury yesterday because I had a conflict that was preceded my knowing about that. And Sunbury Chamber does a terrific job. I think I'm always impressed with the involvement out there and how that's community work very well together in the chamber. There was a meeting with the zoo yesterday, Jerry Boren and Mike, and I was unable to attend because I was late getting back from my luncheon, but I understand that went well, and Jerry was very appreciative of the meeting. I did speak to him afterwards, at least via text. And I really don't have anything else to add, but I do understand we have need for executive.
I do. Resolution number 21-305, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of the sale of property at competitive bidding.
So moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 21-305. Mr. Merrill?
I didn't hear what you said there.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
With that, we are now